And when you go to the Geyser village, you cross the bridge and you throw pennies into the river to the little kids in the river. So I'm a waka penny diver from way back in the day. I used to dive for those pennies. My first job as a 4-year-old was to go to the river with my brothers and my sisters and my whānau, and we would dive for pennies. Maybe you threw me a penny. I don't know, you might have. So yeah, I grew up in and around the pa, around Te Arawa and in Tuhorangi, and yeah, as I say, it was quite a volatile environment where I grew up. So geysers and hot pools and all sorts of risk. If you're a health and safety person, it's probably high risk. But I can tell you back in the day, no one from our village ever got injured, ever fell in the pools. Lots of tourists who would come through the village did. So I put it to you, why was that? Why would people in the village not fall into these pools and get injured and stuff? And for me, it was pretty easy. We have a connection to that whenua, to that land. We whakapapa back to that pa. Our pa is there. And basically, the community looked out for each other. And so adults didn't, when I was a 4-year-old, went to the river, adults didn't tell us, don't go in the fauna. The kids looked after each other, and we had this special connection and special bond to that place. So from a Māori perspective, that's what I knew. And it was funny when I was growing up, my father used to say to us, look out for the white cars. And we're like, the white cars, what are they? They're from the government. Can't trust the government. So it's like, it was entrenched in my mind. What are these white cars? And white cars show up and people jump out. So it's funny that there is this mistrust of government. And who should work for government for nearly 20 odd years was me. And I worked in Wellington for a number of agencies, Ministry of Justice, ACC, MBIE, and I saw the inner workings and mechanisms of the government system and how frustrating it could be, actually. So a couple of years ago, I decided I was going to step out of government and do my own thing, and I started my business called Ruku Ki. And basically, it was an opportunity to provide learning to a wide audience, a scalable solution. So most of the content that we create is online digital content, e-learning, if you want to call it that. And it was just responding to a need at the time, this is 4 or 5 years ago, of the government really want to lift cultural capability in Te Ao Māori. And I just saw there was an opportunity to do that. So it's like, yeah, man, put my money where my mouth is and do something about it. So I've been working for myself for nearly 2 years now with Ruku Ki, and I think you people have got my content and going to go through it, hopefully at some point in time, and that'll be cool to see what you think about that content, because there's a little bit of information there. So yeah, I've been working for myself for a couple of years now. I actually work in partnership with another design company here in Wellington, and we create this online platform for learning. And we focus on a couple of things. Now, if you guys have got questions, I suggest you jump in there because I can ramble for quite a bit. But we focus on a couple of topics. Te Tiriti is one topic, and there's a number of things that you can do in that, and I think you guys you've got access to that. We've created content around tikanga and what that means. And then also we've got some stuff around te reo, some basic te reo content. It's all done online. So yeah, I don't know what else to tell you, but I think that gives you a little bit of insight into who I am and what I've done, and where I'm from. I currently live in Wellington. I've been living here for 20 odd years. Love it. But at some point in time, I'll go back to Rotorua, I think. Home's calling. Does anyone have any questions? Oh.
Kia ora, Chris. I just wanted to jump in and say, yeah, the privilege of going through. I've gone through 2 of the 3 modules so far, and just wanted to say, for those that haven't done it already, really encourage it. It's a beautiful format. I love the mixture of the imagery along with the tikanga and the different kupu words to learn. So yeah, I've been finding it fantastic. So really encourage people. I've probably like many in this industry, would have done different versions of Te Tiriti or Waitangi training and different engagements. And for this one, it feels quite different and it's really engaging. And I certainly learnt a lot and compounded more learnings from previous iterations of things I've done in the past. So I just want to say ngā mihi nui. I think it's a fantastic resource and really encourage everyone to jump on board and do that.
Oh, thank you, Coral. Yes, so the name Ruku Ki is actually, there's a personal story behind that. Ruku is dive, and it talks to me being being from whakarewarewa and being a piri diver. And the person who I am today is, well, I don't think I've changed from when I was a 4-year-old that went to the river. And so the sorts of things that I learned when I went to the river was working together, working with people, was always at the heart. And so I've always had that sort of desire to be inclusive and work with people throughout my career. And then ako is learning or education, and that's been my passion for the last 20 odd years. So the way we've created our content, the visual look and feel, there's very much a Y, W-A-I, water theme throughout the content, and it speaks to that name of Ruku Ki. And the flow, and I talk about cadence of learning, pedagogy, if you want to use a flash name. And we very much use a storytelling perspective and try and get away from the clickbaity type e-learning that you can get, but actually get storytelling that flows through it. So if it's your jam and you like storytelling, there you go. Does anyone else have any questions?
Hey Chris, I had a quick question. So we have, when we spoke to you with the lived experience, you had a little video. Do you want me to, can I show that? Or did you, that was the video of the start, your Te Tiriti animation?
That'll be cool. If you've
Yeah,
got
I'll
it
just,
handy, that'll be
yep,
easy.
I'll share my screen now just so everyone can have a look. And please excuse me while I make sure that I've got the correct sound on. This seems to be an issue. Here we go. I'll just show you guys just a quick, I think it goes for 1:40, just a quick animation of the start of the modules here. Can everyone see that? Just a moment. Sorry, I couldn't see you. Can we see that screen? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. I'll press play. Hopefully that.
Nau mai haere mai ki te riringa o te tiriti o Waitangi. Welcome. Come and explore the journey of the founding document of Aotearoa, Te Tiriti o Waitangi, with us, Ruku Ki. Te Tiriti is a partnership between two peoples where we acknowledge our past and continue to work together to enhance the mana of both Te Tiriti partners. We can learn a lot from the journey our freshwaters take, from the mountains to the sea, ki uta ki te tai. He taura whiri ko tahi māno te kōpunga tai no i te pūau. From the source to the mouth of the sea, all things are joined together as one. As the fresh water meets the sea, the tide consumes the free-flowing waters. At times the relationship is turbulent when mixed together quickly, sometimes slow, and occasionally not at all. Eventually, the fresh water become the undercurrent the sea sits on top, working together in harmony. Our challenge to you is to dive into your learning, heighten your awareness to be able to feel comfortable in uncomfortable waters. Let's dive into the akoranga together. Titiro whakamuri, kōkiri whakamua. Look back and reflect so you can move forward.
that's just the wee taster of some of Chris's training. But Chris, I just wondered, the training is split into the three different modules. I just wondered because for other than us staff, the majority of the people on here haven't actually completed the modules yet. So I just wondered if you wanted to briefly just have a quick explanation of the three, why it's split into three.
Yeah, totally.
I'll just
So,
stop sharing. There we go.
So before I sort of talk about the three modules in there, there's actually there's a bit of a flow to how this series should work. And what we have done is broken down the experience into three key parts. And the way we've called it out is to create awareness is the first thing. And you've just experienced that awareness asset, which is that motion graphic. And disclaimer, when you're desperate for talent, anyone will do. I had to put my voice in there, so anyway. So that 1 minute or 1 minute plus motion graphic, if you were to send it out prior to people going and doing the e-learning, it just creates, it's like a trailer to a movie. It just creates some interest, and then people will go, oh, wonder what this thing is about. This is a little bit different. Oh, I wonder what's coming next. So, you know, the opportunity to actually send it out prior to, it might be a few days before, and then people they're looking forward to actually going into what the actual learning experience is. And then the learning experiences is actually 3 e-learning modules. Do you guys know what e-learning modules are? Digital learning. So e-learning modules, you basically you go into a platform, you click through, and it's quite an interactive experience with a whole bunch of knowledge, and then there are some checks around the knowledge that you've learned. So yep, our lead learning modules actually break down Te Tiriti, which is quite a, you know, it's a big topic. We've broken it down into 20-minute experiences. Do you know why we've done that into 20 minutes? I mean, it's all about attention span, really, and what we've learned over time. I'll put my hand up. Back in the day when I was a young whippersnapper who was sort of early days into my learning development career, oh man, I created this awesome module. It was at least 2 hours long. Yeah, it was me. And wondered why people weren't using it, or we could track, and we were like, wonder why people are only like going through a quarter of it. And then was like, maybe we should get some feedback, and people were like, way too long, man. So it's all about attention span, and typically the adult learner, even 20 minutes is a stretch to keep attention. So, you know, we've tried to keep cognizant of that to that time frame, broken down Te Tiriti, which can be quite a big topic to talk about and go through, down into 3 20-minute experiences. So let me just talk to you about those experiences. So, just bear with me. I like to tell you that I've got them off the top of my head, but I don't. Oh, sorry,
I've got a flyer. I've got a flyer here, Chris. Do you want me to share it? And then you can talk to it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Think I took it straight off your website anyway. Can
totally
you see that okay?
Totally prepared for this, kōrero.
It's okay. It's okay. It's got the 3 modules at the bottom. Yeah.
Oh, jeepers, I can hardly see that. So.
Oh, right. Okay. It might be 2. Is that better?
Yeah, that's fine. Cool. Thank you. So, yeah, thank you, Leanna. So the first module is Te Rerenga o Te Tiriti o Waitangi, the Treaty of Waitangi Journey. I'm not going to read through it because you guys can you guys see that?
Can you see it all right, or is it super small?
It is a little bit, yeah, it is a bit small.
I think it's attached to the email that was sent out last week. Was it last week?
Yeah, we did attach that, Marianne. Yeah.
So here's the 3 modules, and the Treaty of Waitangi Journey up close, and then what it actually means to me. And there's a whole bunch of learning objectives that sit underneath those things. I'm not going to read them all out yet. I think you guys could read and you'll have access to these things. But I think the key point around this is we've tried to break these down into consumable learning bites. So the person who's taking it in doesn't feel overwhelmed by what could be quite a big topic. Another thing to point out is that the content's been created at a very foundational beginner's perspective. It's not an advanced learning experience. And it's very much passive. E-learning is a passive experience. So what that actually means is you can do it in the safety of your own room by yourself. And, that's great for some people because they're like, oh, I don't want to go to a workshop and I don't really know a lot about this topic, but this is quite a good step in understanding more. So there's pros and cons to e-learning in terms of that passive nature. And for some people, they actually want to do this type of thing in a group setting. So the third part that we add, if this is the learning experience, the third part that we add is called embedding or application. And the way that we do that is through a guided conversation derived from these e-learning modules. So we've created some activities that sit behind these, and anyone can pick up this facilitator guide that we've created, and you can create a session that you can actually do a debrief and reflection with your team. So the suggested way that we say that you should do this is go look at your first module in week 1, and then we will catch up the week after and we'll have a conversation as a group around what you learned. And then in week 2, look at module number 2 and do the same thing. And in week 3, do the same thing. So it breaks it down from a learner's perspective. It's not a whole bunch of content that's thrown at them and they can't take it in. But if you stage it over 3 weeks, it's much more consumable for the learner. So hand up again. I've done that where it's like, yeah, try and learn all this stuff and we'll get together the next day. And of course you've learned it all, and nah. So I've learned the hard way, and I've used my experience in sort of creating this content to actually give the end user the best opportunity to actually take in information, retain it, and then actually do some reflection and embedding. And some of that embedding stuff, what we do is we ask them questions around, you learnt this within the actual e-learning module. How does that relate to you in your job as you do it today? How does it relate to you as a person in your home and the things that you do today? So trying to make some real good connections in terms of that learning experience and try and embed it into everyday life. I think that's about it of the e-learning, but does anyone have any questions?
I just wanted to add, it's not really a question, but I just wanted to add that we have purchased this from Chris, and it is limited, so it's really important for you guys to get in there. It's not going to be there and available forever. So we've got this on our website at the moment for you guys to, or you've been sent the link to access it for a year. So it's really important for those of you that want to just get in there and do it and get your teams on board as well. Does anyone have any questions for Chris at all? I know because we're recording this, Chris, we've got, there's quite a few people that are still on leave, still on holiday, and there's a few people that I know will have questions. I know Lovey will have questions about this. So when she sees the recording, if there are some questions, are you okay if I could perhaps compile them and flick you through an email or something like that?
Yeah, no problem whatsoever. Happy to help.
Yeah. Excellent.
If there's no other questions, thank you, team, for the opportunity to.
Lawrence has got one there. Sorry.
Lawrence.
Yes, hi, sorry. Hi, Chris. Yeah, so I myself have completed the module, so it was very helpful. I have some colleagues. I shared it in my network, and I have some colleagues. They're being a Maori, it doesn't mean that they know much of those specific details, but it's been very helpful to them. I think for those who are beginners in Te Reo, it might be helpful to have more detailed Maori to English translation and kind of written text, to ensure that those learnings and understand exactly what they're reading. That's just my kind of, I'm going forward to enhance the module. That would be really, really great. And there's some feedback as well. If there's a chance that they can get a sort of like kind of certificate at the end, say you've completed the module, something like that. So so just sharing the feedback from my colleagues really here in Te Ann. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that feedback. And I was just going to say that to Lawrence around the feedback. We're keen to hear any feedback. I'd love to tell you it's the perfect experience, but there's no such thing. And keen to take feedback because it makes the product and the content better. So thank you for that, Lawrence. And
Sure.
Just put that word out to everyone else. Keen to take feedback, and I'll meet with the team, Liana and with Coral, around what that feedback that looks like, because it adds value to what we do. You release these things and you go, I think it should land on the mark, but actually you don't really know until you actually release it to a wide bunch of people, and then they give you feedback. So willing to take that. Thank you. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Chris. Thank you.
And Rachel, you've got a question there?
Kia ora, Chris. That's great, thank you. And to have that free access for a period of time is really supportive for us as an organisation, so we'll share that wider. I'm a foundation standard assessor through the college, and really mindful about making this another option for our practices to watch these really small modules that are much more achievable potentially for some of our practices, and the content to align with the standard. And I just wonder if you've been in conversations with the college around it at all?
Oh, no, I haven't, no.
Okay. So I've got it in my calendar on Friday to go through the modules and have a wee look. And I think potentially it might be worth us thinking about the feedback, like you were just suggesting, and helping that to align with the college. I know that the collaborative team may have already also connected with the college about that, so I'll let Coral take over. But that's just my own thoughts around being an assessor and how our practices see not necessarily just the approved training that's actually available at the moment. I'll hand over to you, Coral.
Kia ora, Rachel. Yes, no, absolutely great feedback, because yes, that's an action that we've tackled, and saying, oh, why not find the efficiencies to align this and meet people where they are, and align with some of those foundation standards and cornerstone, etc. So yes, that's they're a meeting. The meeting is booked, I think, for next week to explore that with the college. So yeah, as soon as we've got a line in the sand around that, then yeah, we'll make sure we get back to you and confirm that. But that's our expectation as well.
I'll give you my feedback then, Coral, once I've on Friday gone through the modules myself from an assessment point of view and thinking about it from a practice lens.
Amazing, thank you. That'd be great.
And I just there's the questions. Oh yeah, I didn't know. Good question.
Kia ora. So likewise, like Rachel, I've been putting it through our GP services. Our primary health sector here in Wanganui, we are going through a restructure in our workforce for equity and contracts around it. So they will be the team that's going to be looking at it, not only our equity but restructure, but also your modules as well, your e-modules, to see if it can align with us moving forward. So kia ora koutou, and so feedback's coming through, and then I'll liaise with Liana once I get all the feedback. But it was really well worth the journey. Mauri ora.
Mauri ora. Kia ora. See, I'll just share with you, Tim. I'm actually going to go through the health system in a couple of days. I've got a hip joint replacement procedure happening in 2 days. I've been like putting my head in the sand going, oh, it's not going to happen, it's going to happen. So yeah, Oh, really? Can't wait. No, I've actually got to a place where my hip has been just giving me grief for a good 6 months now, and it was just time to just get it done. So yeah, Santa's going to give me a new hip. I'll be Bionic Man, something like that.
So we'll see you running in any new modules you bring out. You'll run into the screen and be like, me and my new hip are here.
Maybe paddle. I'll paddle. I'm a paddler, so I'll paddle into these.
Amazing. Did anybody else have any last questions there for Chris? I think we're all good. We really appreciate you coming on and, doing these modules for us, Chris. Yeah, so just thank you so much. And did you have any last words you wanted to say for us?
No, just thank you, team. Thank you to Kaulab Aotearoa for the opportunity to work with you and to share this mātauranga Māori knowledge further for people, especially in this time where, change of government, and that's actually been a good thing, I think, in my eyes, to raise consciousness for those people that actually don't know about Te Tiriti o Waitangi. And for me, it's an opportunity to actually learn about it and then make a decision of where you stand. So for me, it's just an awesome opportunity to work with you and the team and to share the content that we have developed. So Mauri ora team, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
I'll leave
Thank
you to
you.
your hui.
Thank you. All
Have
the
an
best for
amazing
your
day.
all the best for your surgery, Chris.
Thank you.
Mm.
Ka kite
Ka
anō.
kite.
Take care.
That was good. I have also, I didn't need to bring it up for Chris, but I was like, I've done the modules as well, and I am really interesting if you guys, haven't done them yet. So I'll just jump back and share my screen again.
Just before,
Yes.
it's okay, you can still share your screen, but I just wanted to say that there is a feedback part at the end of the modules, but we are kind of compiling a few bits and pieces. So if you want to, feel free to email me, because sometimes it's easier to put it in an email in your own words, and then I can send it all through to Chris at once. So yeah, just flick that through if you've got anything. I've already written down your ones, Lawrence, so I'll add that to my list.
Amazing. I did just make a wee thing here in case, I put that up for everybody can see. I mean, and that is actually some of the graphics from in the module. It's nice and colourful. It's got people talking, like it's quite engaging. We are a little bit ahead of time, but let's go forward. Next up we have, we're ahead of time, so we'll get to finish early, which is great. So next we've got wellbeing with Coral. So I will pass on to Coral to run through this, and then after that we might just sort of have a little quick 10-minute tea break, and I'll pass over to you, Coral.
Kia ora Chria and kia ora koutou. And welcome to those that have just jumped online. So yeah, just going to take a few moments just to go through a little time to think about wellbeing to support you, as well as your wider team and your community. So I think to kick off, I think whenever the good's going well, or whether there's going to be times that are tough, there's lots of things we can do to strengthen our well-being and boost the way that we feel. So why is this important in the context of collective action? So networks or place-based planning that are supported by collective action requires opportunities that when we're engaging with community and whānau about their thoughts and understanding, we need to have an open heart and mind so that we can increase our capacity to understand the experiences of others. So I believe empathy is a critical and necessary tool in collective action progress, and it also enables us to be vulnerable, to ask what's going on under the surface and to be open to sometimes pretty difficult truths that we may find. So to work alongside community and to listen authentically with that open heart and mind, you need to have a calm, considerate and just approach. So investing in your well-being benefits you, and it benefits those that you work alongside, and of course those communities that you're serving. So I want to take a moment, there's a few snips there. The All Right campaign, a number of people may know this, especially those from the Waitaha, Canterbury region. All Right is a health promoting social marketing campaign that's based here in Otahi, Christchurch. It was launched in 2013 to support the psychosocial recovery of Cantabrians following the earthquakes of 2010 and 2011. And so what's happened since then is, along with those resources, it's become a powerful champion for wellbeing in Canterbury, especially to normalise conversations around wellbeing and mental health. And there's heaps of free resources available, and hence why I wanted to highlight this today. And alongside, you can see a few of many that are available. There's one in particular that I feel quite passionate about. I'm learning as we're going along, and that's on maramataka. So what I'll do, either Patria, can you either flick just to the next slide for me, if you may? Thank you for that. Awesome. So maramataka is probably something that all of us at some point have come across and know a little or a lot about, but it is the traditional Māori calendar, and it literally means turning of the moon. So each night over a month period, or more specifically, I think it's 29.34 days, was given a name, and over time it guided Māori on how to observe the ebb and flow of the natural world in order to optimise the crucial activities like fishing, growing vegetables, and other activities in the natural world. So there's 4 key energy phases in maramataka. So there's Raka Nui, which is of the highest energy. There's Tangaroa, which is a very productive period of time. There's the Whiro phase, which is quite a low ebb, and Tamatea, which is often unpredictable. So it also, the great thing about maramataka is that, and hence why the All Right campaign utilised this as a tool, is that it highlights the connection between the moon and our wellbeing. And so the key thing that I found from my journey is that it supports you to observe your environment, what's happening around you, how it affects you and your whānau and your workplace. So the snip to the right, you can see that today is Tamatea Aio, which is part of the unpredictable phase. And I did have a wee giggle when I snipped this in, because it said, oh, not a particularly good day for holding hui. So be... We'll have a wonderful hui today, and this has been a wonderful hui, but again, about observation and seeing how this energy for today fits with you. From a mental health perspective, it helps us to know that it's okay to not have a great day, because we all have them, and phases shift, and so you come back to that high energy to optimize the activities that you do accordingly over time. And a thing I want to just really highlight is that maramataka, it's thousands of years of Indigenous knowledge. It's not a quick fix. It's more of a lifestyle, and I'm certainly enjoying it from my perspective, is another tool in my kete of seeing how I fit with the environment and the energy I bring to my work and to my whānau. And so the last point on this is that for the current moon phase, or rātaka as it's called, you can jump on the website that's shown at the bottom of the slide there. You can also order the maramataka resource online, and that's free to individuals. You can also order multiple packs for teams if you wish to, and that for the multiple packs that comes with a cost. But I did want to highlight that that's one of the key ones I find particularly useful. Yeah, there's wonderful. Please encourage you to go onto that All Right website, and there'll be many things to either use with children. There's the Sparklers group, which is specifically looking at tamariki and rangatahi, supporting them during change in difficult times. So hopefully there's something for all of you to take with that. So yeah, that's my few minutes of a wellbeing focus. Is there any questions? Ka pai. All right, well in that case, I guess it's opportunity for getting a cup of tea or a wharepaku break.
Yeah, I think that's great. Cool. So let's make it, should we do 15 minutes. So we'll come back at 11:05, and then we'll be jumping into Ny's presentation. Excellent. Everybody enjoy grabbing a cup of tea, and we'll see you in 15. Thank you, Coral. Welcome back. I had a very productive 15 minutes. I got the towels hung out, had a snack, got my coffee, came back. I was pretty proud of myself.
Hey man, that's the joy of working from home, eh? You know, if I was at home, oh God, imagine what I could do.
It was quite good because I put them on before work and then I could hear that they'd finished. I was like, I can get this hung out in 15 minutes.
Like I could get like dinner ready, you know, so it's not like a end of day rush thing. Not that it really is anyway. It's normally just the two of us.
Interesting, like, you know, looking at how we used to work 5-6 years ago, I wonder if, like, is remote working, because a lot of people have sort of moved back into the office quite a bit. So it will be quite interesting, like, what's going to happen in the future, because hybrid's quite popular. But like, I was just imagining that people working from home with their laptop in the kitchen, chatting away, doing the washing while you're talking, cooking dinner while you're talking, and then it's just like a normal part of your day-to-day work. Like, imagine if that's eventually where it turned up to. We'd probably have chips in our brains because it'll be in the future and we just don't even need a laptop. We just talk to each other's heads.
The only thing, excuse me, is the encroachment on out of work hours. Yeah, choking on myself.
I have noticed that, like, I must have had quite a busy week and you must have had something to do during the day and I was like, perfect, I'll make it up at night. But you just kind of, if you've got heaps of work to do, you just keep working. Like, I think one time I just worked all day and then worked until like 9 o'clock at night. Like, I needed to get it done. It was a presentation. But you just like, that was just a whole day. Yeah. So I think you've got to like put in quite a bit of structure. And I've done that now, as you know, these are your work hours, these are your out of work hours, you know. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. This is many, many years ago, but my old boss, and I worked in real estate and I was a secretary, and he used to transcribe into a dictaphone. Then he would give it to me. I would listen to it and type the stuff up. And he always joked, he's like, one day I'm just going to insert a chip in your brain. And he's like, I'll just can dictate straight into your head and you can just type while you're listening to me in your brain. I was like, that was like over 10 years ago. So it hasn't happened so far. I think that was his dream.
Coral, I've made a few purchases already on that website that you gave us.
Excellent. Yes.
There's actually a lot of free resource, which is awesome too. Yeah, lots of cool stuff for kids. So definitely worth a look.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one where you're like, today's not the best day for Hui, but we'll do it. Like, I would quite like to, look at every day to be like, what should I be doing today? What's the best use of my what would you call it? The universe flow?
Yeah, he's got the ebb and flow of energy and yeah.
Amazing. Well, welcome to everybody that is back. We've got quite a few, so we'll keep going. Let me bring up our agenda again, have a little look, see what we've got going on. So, oh yes, that's what we had. Oh, look, now I've broken it. Okay, amazing. So we are not too far ahead of schedule, but we've listened to Chris and that was fantastic, and thank you, Coral, for that well-being, the very interesting elements you've got there. And next up, we are doing the telehealth learn online modules with our lovely digital health lead, Ny. So I will pass on to Ny. I'm actually going to let her. Oh, I don't know what I've done. I seem to have lost everything.
Oh, no. That was me, Patria. I jumped the gun there. I've just shared my screen. Sorry.
Oh no, because everybody, my teams disappeared as well, and I was like, have I lost the whole meeting? No, it's okay,
No,
guys. We're good. So I'll pass on to Ny.
I am just ensuring that my sound is on because I have a short video to share, so that it's not going to, but it doesn't let me allow that option. Maybe it's already there. Anywho, apologies for that. Oh, Renee, got a question? Did you know? No? Can you
No
guys see
question.
that screen?
Yeah.
Whoops. That
This is the flip side of, you know, working remotely, is that we always have fun with our presentations.
Yeah, wow. I'm still new technically, so I've got that excuse, don't I?
We'll go with that.
Yes, thank you. I will get there. Cool. Thank you very much, everyone, for being patient. And welcome back. Thank you for joining us. It is hopefully not going to be a very tiresome last bit of the session so that we can go back to our normal day. I wanted to take this opportunity to reintroduce myself and my role, share some of the resources that we have relaunched, and quite excited to sort of tell you a little bit more of some of the findings that I have come across. So hopefully, you know, some of the slides that you're about to see, they are designed to, I guess, share amongst your networks, got a little bit of information in it, but I think it's quite relevant for them to get a bit of insight as to how telehealth came about and why we did the modules and where it's got to today. So that's why I will flick through them quite quickly, but so hopefully it will be a little bit more engaging. Cool. So I'll begin briefly. So just a reminder about my role for those who know me, or for those who are watching this recording back. My role here at Kalabita Aotearoa is digital health lead, where I'm committed to lead with an equity lens to improve access to healthcare, seek and manage any digital health and telehealth related services for primary care, valuing that the role aims to support needs-based services and ultimately, you know, progress towards better health centre solutions and optimise resources. So as a team, we have the view of that telehealth as a tool. So it's a tool that's been used currently in New Zealand and across the world as a vehicle to support whānau patients closer to home, essentially as an extension of the normal healthcare delivery, which we know about, you know, the in-person. And it's, you know, a vehicle that we use digital technology. So it's for directly patients, for whānau, or in a multidisciplinary manner as well. It can be used. It's considered as a valuable tool to enhance convenience, especially in situations where an in-person visits may be challenging or just impractical. It can also reduce travel time for people who are, you know, in rural places. Also, you know, we all remember it's been, you know, proven particularly useful during our situation in the COVID-19 pandemic, where physical distancing was, you know, was crucial. However, I do want to recognise that telehealth is not, you know, may not be suitable for all medical situations, as you know as well, and your network knows. But you know, I don't want to ignore that telehealth are offering clinicians a host of long-term benefits, which you will see as well. So this is from the Health Quality Safety Adult Primary Care Health Survey in May 2023. I wanted to share with you sort of the proportion of what patients receive. So yeah, in person is 58%, but I also want to share that 33% are being video consults. So that for me was quite an eye-opener. I wasn't expecting to see such a large piece of pie for that, and I wanted to share that piece for you. So that's, you know, if you include telephone consults and virtual, that's a total of 42%. So that's quite a big chunk. Be interesting to see what the ratio is for the next survey. And I think it sort of, you know, supports the idea that telehealth has emerged as a transformational force in New Zealand, whether we like it or not. So I want to add as well and be very clear that I'm not promoting that everyone, you know, jumps ship and conduct telehealth consults 100%. But you know, you could look inwards, and instead of, you know, going outwards, you know, working with the team members that you've got at the moment, here are just some of the examples of what telehealth could look like, you know, if it's embedded into your existing teams. One of them being that it could just be a GP offering video telehealth consults, just a set number of hours. Other being that a GP team offers in-clinic virtual care with the support of a healthcare assistant or a PCPA doing their physical obs in the clinic. So this model of care is particularly handy for teams that are needing to retain some of their GP staff who, you know, moved away or overseas, and they just need that extra cover until they recruit. And finally, it could be that you have that multiple hybrid, you know, all the clinicians on your team, including your extended workforce, like your paramedics, if you've got one, that offers, you know, GP triage and telephone consults as well on a regular basis. So why have telehealth as an option? It's pretty obvious. It's choice for our patients. It also grants our providers the flexibility, as you said, Chria. You know, it gives them a chance to work from home if they want to, and it gives them a sort of a unique scenario where they can actually not, you know, find a model of care that's suitable for them and patients as well. The choice-driven model of care does, in my mind, I think, support the human touch because it remains integral in healthcare, and so that it saves those appointments for those in-person ones as well. Flexibility in the sense where it allows healthcare professionals to adapt to the individual patient preferences, like as I mentioned. And also, I want to acknowledge that it can establish quite a robust infrastructure to support both traditional and virtual healthcare delivery. So investing in those technologies and training ensures that your clinicians have the tools and knowledge and empowerment they need to integrate telehealth into their practice. I'm going to just share a short video that I put together last night. It's about the telehealth learning modules. Again, the story of the day is e-learning, and some of you may have already done it or seen it and have circulated it, but I also wanted to just share with you an introduction video, very much what Chris had said about his Te Tiriti training as well. So it's kind of like a trailer. So I'll just share that now. Thank you. Just so you know, Chria, I can't see the screen. So if anyone puts their hand up, could you please just interact and jump in?
Yeah. Love the
that'd be
music,
awesome.
by the way.
Pardon?
I loved the music.
Thanks. Took me about 5 minutes to figure out how it worked, to be honest, but we got there. Cool. So this is just a brief background of the telehealth learning module. Again, it's all about, you know, continuous development, improvement, right? So wanted to give you a brief background. The history of telehealth, no, because that goes back as far as 100 years ago when the first telephone was introduced. So I'm not going to go that far, don't panic. But I will start, I think, at 2020, which is what some people might call the sort of perfect storm, and give a quick rundown where we see the rapid change in telehealth. So in 2020, you know, the COVID-19 lockdown, you know, you would recall that primary care throughout the country needed to adapt telehealth at such short notice. So that led to significant disruption to BAU processes, technologies, everything in different ways, and how we interact with people. And so everyone had to adopt how we worked, and also dealing with the pandemic itself. So in that same year, Kaleba Aotearoa introduced the idea of putting together a module in collaboration with NZ Telehealth Forum to support that rapid implementation, and the uptake, was quite high at the time. So yeah, we started with the guideline, then rapidly changed into sort of it had a high uptake, particularly in April 2022, as you can see in the graph below, where at that point it was endorsed by the College of GPs on the foundation standards. They've got links to our resources on their webpage, so we saw a big jump at that point. They also at the same time launched the position statement as well about telehealth, and that was that aligned with what we were going for as well. In 2023, August last year, I believe, the Medical Council of New Zealand sent out their telehealth statement, and so we're looking to align our modules with that as well. So in the last sort of few months, we've revised the telehealth modules and have only just relaunched it last week. So that's exciting. Whoops. The telehealth uptake so far, I just wanted to share with you our top two are registered nurse that have completed the modules, followed by extended workforce, and surprisingly pharmacists and practitioners are number 3 and 4. So wanted to share that with you. Here is the link to access the modules. It's highlighted in that timeline that the modules we will review them again in September this year as part of our continuous quality improvement. Have a go. We would love to hear back from what you and your network thinks. If you have any questions regarding the model, please feel free to contact me. My email is below. And that's all I've got.
Amazing. Did anybody, oh, there we go, Ellie.
Kia ora. Yeah, great. That's thank you for that. That's really interesting. I've always been a fan of telehealth consults ever since I've been involved in healthcare home back from 2018 and stuff like that. But my experience in the last 6 months as I've supported 2 small rural practices has kind of it hasn't changed my opinion, because I think there's still a really good place for it, but it's just changed the whole environment. Like we now in Southland, I don't know how the rest of you feel, which I'd be interested to hear your other experiences. In Southland, because of the increase in telehealth and video consults, we are just unable to get an on-site GP for small rural practices. It's just, you just cannot get them no matter what you offer, because GPs can demand a high rate for telehealth consults per session or per hour, and they don't have to leave home. And it's great. It is great, but I was kind of like, I feel it's swung to, yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to what the rest of you think, because it's it's great in a practice, but the whole concept of it has meant now that we can't get physical GPs to small rural practices, and that's probably never going to change again. So how do we? So we've been looking at using tools to help online assessments and all that sort of stuff, but it still just comes down to the cost is almost more expensive than having an on-site GP. And yeah, I'd be interested what anyone else's experiences are, what their thoughts are on that whole situation.
So do you mean it's an expensive cost to have the telehealth set up?
With the cost to employ a GP to do telehealth sessions.
Oh, right.
Is as high as or higher than a in-person locum.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Their requirements or their demands are a lot more constrained. Like you might have employed a GP for a session which was roughly 4 hours, but it might go over a little bit. Now, if it goes beyond 5 p.m, you're having to pay another premium to get them to finish off that work for the day. I mean, that's not a bad thing. I mean, GPs should be paid what the the time they're working and stuff like that. But it's just, it really has changed the whole culture of around supply of locums and GPs to small rural areas. And yeah. You know,
Yeah.
I'm now of the opinion that if a practice has at least one in-person GP and can support the rest of their care with telehealth, they're well off, because I'm working with practices that have only telehealth GPs. And it's flipping hard and really expensive. And, you know, only the practices only exist because of the input from their business owners, which are not private practitioners. They're like organisations or Marai-based owners who are funding practices that are not able to be sustainable because of the cost of the telehealth GPs.
Thank you, Alison. Yep, that's interesting. I'm writing this all down quickly as possible. I mean, it does go down to sort of that balance, right? I can see you've got your hand up there, Anne. I'll be with you in a short. The model of care, obviously, it has to fit to the need of your community. I firmly believe that. And it could be that the structural, you know, the governance level might need to be relooked at, maybe. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that there's now no choice for a lot of practices. So it doesn't matter what model of care your governance structure decides they want. You can't get them,
Okay. Marianne, what was your question?
Mine's not really a question. I think I just need to support Alison in what she's saying here. You're not alone, Alison, with that concern. I think the biggest thing that we're finding in primary care is that we are moving more and more to telehealth, which I don't think is a bad thing for some patient cohorts, but for others, it's clinically risky.
Yeah.
And I think, look, recently I've had a major clinical incident happen in one of my practices here in Whangarei that I had to meet with the practice about yesterday, and the last person to have contact with that individual before the event happened was a remote locum GP. And what happened from that was that this person was not in the practice, so wasn't able to understand that there was other people within that practice environment that could have supported that patient, and this ended quite badly, and it's traumatized the practice. And like, I've read the notes, I've done a whole review of what's happened there for the practice to support them, and his notes are great, what he did was great, but the risk was he wasn't on the ground and able to reach in to others that could have helped support that individual and their whānau. So telehealth definitely has its place, and I love it because I'm busy and I'd rather not have to go to the GP, even though mine's directly across the road. I'd rather not, and my husband would be the same. But I think we need to be really careful about how we utilise it and in what patient population would be the better patient population to be using it. And I think that's some of the quality improvement stuff that we need to actually be bringing into this piece of mahi, because I don't think people are just like telehealth, which is great. But we need to make sure that there's quality in that and that the clinical risk is being absolved, because we're going to have issues moving forward if more and more of these types of individuals are having telehealth appointments and they are happening from a remote space. And I also agree, Alison, it's why would you want to go and move to an area when you could sit on the beach somewhere and still do your job and get paid good money? I'd be down for it. So,
and I think it's something that we need to acknowledge, that the last 5 years probably and more, has been pretty stressful for GPs as well. There's a lot of burnout in GPs, and so this is why they've opted to do this, because they can do a session from 1 to 5, get paid an exorbitant amount, still be at home for the kids after school. Why wouldn't you do it? It's like, it's a no-brainer, but yeah, it's a tricky one.
So I think, Ny, I think the most important thing moving forward would probably be looking at, if we're going to be doing, as part of the healthcare home, telehealth is a part of the domains, and it's part of what healthcare home is, to be offering telehealth and virtual consults, is maybe be developing something that's more, that has clear clinical support to absolve the risks. So, there are, like, I see that there's lots of nurses that have been, really down for phone consults and virtual consults and telehealth, making sure that they're safe and making sure the practice has some really clear process and guidelines to ensure that if they've got remote GPs, or they're doing telehealth, even from on the ground in the practice, that they've got, you know, a really clear process of what to do if they feel like something has gone that could be clinically risky, and the patients that shouldn't be having those consults because of the clinical risk. I just wonder if there's a bit of a quality improvement piece that could happen.
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. There's a piece of work. So I've only scratched with so today's flavour was the telehealth modules, but as part of my role from a wider perspective, it is looking at those key policy and terms and conditions. You know, you don't start telehealth services. Before you do that, you've got to make sure that your messaging is clear to your population, and that you know that is ready, and that you know what the clear expectations are for our patients, the clear expectations are for our clinicians in a safe environment. Absolutely. You know, one of my ideas is to actually get templates out for policies and procedures for that. If you are going to have a portion of your working group or workforce to deliver and offer telehealth services, this is the sort of guideline that you should be following. But again, it's not a cookie cutter for everyone. It is different for different areas of New Zealand, which I'm learning about very, very quickly. But yes, I appreciate your feedback, and I think you make a very valid point. I think clinical safety is very, very important, and we've got some resources that we can tap into for that.
Yeah, it's pretty tricky because, you know, some of the situations that I'm aware of it's telehealth GP or no GP and the practice closes. So, you know, that's the worst outcome for patients as well too. So it's a tricky one.
Yeah, it's a tricky balance. Absolutely. You know, in Practice Plus, if I use Practice Plus as an example, they are aware of that balance as well. They don't want to recruit GPs that are going to be working full-time telehealth. They would rather the GP is staying where they are, and they do half an hour a day with Practice Plus, for example. Don't quote me on that. That's just an example. But that's a sort of fine balance. It's a very double-edged approach as well. So we're very, very aware of that, very conscious of that. That we're not. I didn't realise that was happening down south, that people were recruiting 100% virtual GPs only. I thought it was something you would do in-house. So thank you for
yeah, there's just no choice. Yeah, there's just no one else. Yeah. But it's fully supported, you know. I think it's it is such a good way to extend that workforce and to put it more patients focused, that it's, you know, not the requirement, because it's easier for the GP to have someone come and sit in front of them for 15 minutes sort of thing. There's a lot of other ways to do it.
Yeah, and I love the hybrid approach where they do have an in-clinic session where you've got your PCPA to help them with the OBS while the doctor's online. But it is, in some instances, it's still it's a band-aid. It's until they recruit someone for real. But yeah.
I mean, again, sort of the other issues, and that is around those tools to help that remote assessment for the PCPA, and that are becoming quite expensive because the technology in them is quite new. So it's just another nail to the coffin, really, of rural general practice.
I'd love to hear more about what's happening in rural general practice, Alison. I think I'm heading down south this week, so it'd be good to talk further. It's online. Does anyone have any questions around the module itself, the e-learning? Has anyone actually done the actual modules and found it interesting in any way that you would like to feedback or share? Cool. I think I'm off the hook.
I did the older one when I was at Well South, but I haven't done our updated one yet. I have done the Te Tiriti, but that was great, Ny. Thanks so much. You know, it's such a good conversation about that, sort of the difficulties of getting the GPs these days, because it is definitely becoming more and more apparent. And like, you know, and the more you discuss with, you know, people in other regions, you sort of see similar issues, but how different it can be as well. Yeah, so thank you. That was great. Let's actually, our next agenda item was Liana with training. Now, is Leah? Oh, there we go. You're right there on my screen. Did you have any more training sessions, or did you finish it off at the start?
No, I think that I went over everything. So in case there wasn't people on there, it was just that we have more of the facilitating change being rebuilt to cater for different levels, the different levels that you might be at. So that will be coming up. The ProSci and EdCal training. So we've traditionally done the 1 day, and we'll still be offering the 1 day, but hopefully a more in-depth for those that have done the 1 day training that will be coming in May. Also, just to let you know that we are putting a little events calendar on our website, so you'll be able to jump onto the website, have a look what's coming up with regards to training. And for those of you that are leads, of course, it is on the Engagement Hub. Yeah, that's me.
Amazing. Now, did anybody have any questions for us or for Leanne about the training? Amazing. Now, you can always obviously reach out to us at any time. So we do have another peer session next month. We'll be working on the agenda for that to come out. And I think that was all we had for today. Let me just pull up our presentation. So what else I had? I think I've closed it. It's not in present view anymore. But that was all. We had a little bit of training and our closing karakia. Oh, sorry, I'm losing things. Let me just, if nobody has anything else, I will close us off with our karakia. Sorry, I closed it. Let me just reopen it. Okay, so closing karakia. Ko ranganui e tunei, ko papatunuku e toku takutu nei, kia tau tirangi marie, ki ronga e tu tātou mahitahi, haumie, huie, taikia.
Taikia.
Now, everybody enjoy the rest of your day, and we will talk to you next time.
Happy day.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you very much. See you.